She has got a card in here. I took one thinking that's up, but there's one here.
Kia ora everyone, welcome to Shear The Stigma. We are just finishing our final setups here and then we'll be getting on with things. So we are live now, but we'll be a few more minutes before we get started with everything. Did you that?
The fonts count. It's because it has to get pushed that way.
I've live streamed on the cinema and they have all that.
Oh, it's saying that's what it was.
Okay. Everyone just pop out there and see if you can hear me over. Just doing some final sound checks to make sure that it's all coming through loud and clear. Rochelle is just doing a final check of her slides and then we will be ready to go. Looking forward to presenting to everyone today.
Put that in very sound and some real slides. And then it was worse. You can have my phone. So you just hold my phone, keynote will go on my phone, and just swipe the screen or tap the screen and it'll go to the next click or what it's saying, animations at the start. Unfortunately, that will. I don't want anything, you guys. So I don't click on it.
I would just take one on here as well. And she's just going to agree. So I'm going to do it.
I might perch myself on a stool.
I think we're going to start.
Put the important glasses.
Kia ora everyone. I'm just going to open with karakia today. Mā te whakapono, mā te tū manako, mā te tiro, mā te whakarongo, mā te mahitahi, mā te whakamomore, mā te aroha, ka tia e matou. By believing and trusting, by having faith and hope, by looking and searching, by listening and hearing, by working and striving together, by sheer desire and determination, by all being done with compassion, we will succeed. Ko tangi te keo toko moana, ko Abel Tasman toko moana, ko Hopkins toko ingoa whānau, ko Mervrua, ko Julie toko mātua, no Perth aho, ko Amy toko ingoa. My name's Amy. I'm the Kaiwhakahau Matua for perinatal anxiety and depression, or PADA as we're affectionately called. I am a mother of 6, 3 that I birthed and 3 that I get to call mine after they were birthside. And I came to be in this role after a few different changes in my career, with Plunkett for a number of years, and then have been with PADA for the last 6 months. PADA was formed in 2011 with its mission to eliminate the stigma around perinatal mental health in Aotearoa, New Zealand. We look to do this by holding seminars and workshops around Aotearoa to educate providers in the perinatal mental health space. We tackle many topics, including trauma-informed care, managing grief, and inclusion, with our most recent seminar held on Friday in Auckland, with speakers addressing attendees around safety and inclusion issues for refugee families, Asian whānau, Māori and Pacifica whānau. Sadly, this perinatal space still needs us. For many, the fear of being labelled a bad caregiver by health providers, along with a lack of confidence in themselves, leads to them staying silent rather than asking for support. In some stories, we still hear of mothers being worried that the result of a nurse's assessment will mean their baby will be taken from them. It is reported that 1 in 4 birthing parents will experience some form of mental distress during pregnancy and within the first 1 to 2 years after the birth of their child. And we believe that number to be massively underreported, so real figures could be at least double that. Tragically, Māori and Pacifica women and girls are overrepresented in the statistics for depression and anxiety. In 2020, 183 women committed suicide in Aotearoa, and of them, 157 were Māori. Māori and Pacifica mental death rates still remain higher than any other ethnicity. Aotearoa's maternal suicide rates are higher than the UK's, and suicide is the leading cause of maternal death in Aotearoa. So today, we're here to listen to the stories of one mum and one dad. These 2 people represent the stories of many others in Aotearoa. They'll tell you their own journeys and the journeys of others that they've known, some who have made it through and others who are still on their journey. We want to raise awareness and understanding about perinatal mental health. And also, if you can spare it, we'd love to raise a little cash too. So there's a link through to Rochelle's donation page, or if you're here today, then you can donate in person with a little bit of cash. I'd first like to introduce our speaker, Rochelle, and also the organiser of this event. Rochelle is an osteopath and a mum of 2, and she's here to share her story, and also at the end of the day, shave her hair in the name of perinatal mental health. So Rochelle, welcome. Can't wait to hear from you.
Kia ora everyone, hello, thank you for coming and welcome to all of you who are joining us online as well. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Rochelle. As Amy said, I'm an osteopath and I'm a mum of 2. And the journey that I had with both of my kids, I had two very different experiences. And I'm here today to share that story in the hopes that it can help some of you. So my two children, Aurora and Kirsten. Aurora, I was pregnant with her during the first COVID lockdowns. So it was a very interesting experience to say the least. So with the first COVID lockdowns, we had no idea how COVID might affect pregnancy, how it might affect me, how it might affect my baby. So we made the decision, because my partner was an essential worker, we decided that the risk of him contracting it and bringing it home was too much for us to risk me staying home. So I decided to go and stay with my family out on their farm and had a very nice time with some kitty cuddles with my little baby bump there, and of course some on-point COVID lockdown fashion. During this time, I was also president of Osteopaths New Zealand, and I was working very hard to lobby for our profession while we were in lockdown, lobbying with the Ministry of Health and lobbying with ACC so that osteopaths could practice and be essential workers. Everything said, I was working pretty long hours, and it was a little bit rough, I'm not going to lie. And I realised afterwards that during that time, that stress, that worry, it did steal some of my joy from the pregnancy. And that wasn't something that I really realised until afterwards. So if I were to think, where did my perinatal mental health journey start, I would probably say that. Fast forward, Aurora was born. Things didn't really go to plan. I ended up with an emergency C-section. And while we were really happy that she was safe, and it was absolutely the main thing, it definitely did complicate my recovery. So rather than just recovering from a normal vaginal birth, having had major abdominal surgery and having to be very careful with my body for 6 weeks and not being able to drive anywhere for 6 weeks was a little bit hard on my mental health too. So, introduction to being a parent. Suddenly needing to deal with sleep deprivation, experiencing painful nursing, and generally just adjusting to life with a newborn and with a baby. And all of a sudden, not being able to just, do whatever we wanted. We had this little life that we needed to be responsible for. And that was a big adjustment. I think it's fair to say that it's a challenge for all new parents, especially with the first one. So, talking about postpartum depression and anxiety, I don't know about the rest of you, but while I was pregnant and even postpartum, I had this idea in my head that postpartum depression was this big blue monster that was out to get me, and I had to make sure that it didn't. And so when it came to my mental health, I was a little bit in denial, a little bit defensive. But what I didn't realise is that mental health can slowly degrade. There can be little bits and pieces that slowly chip away at you, and you don't really realise it's happening. Similarly to the analogy with the frog boiling water. If that happens slowly, it doesn't realise what's happening. So then, a little while later, we were faced with the conundrum of, do we want to go through this again? No, we did not. Specifically in relation to, yes, we would love to have a second child, but no, we did not want to have a repeat of our first postpartum experience. So what came from that? We started making some safety nets, and we talked about, things that we could do. So if my mental health or our mental health started to decline, be challenged, we started to recognise those patterns repeating, to have some safety nets and some plans in place for that, such as counselling, going and having a chat with a professional to help us through that. And to, like for me, being able to process any worries that I was having while pregnant, and as well as postpartum if there were things I was struggling with. Medication. So while I was experiencing postpartum depression and anxiety with my first, there was a time where I recognized that actually I was not okay. And it was quite a challenging realization to make that, yes, I think I have postpartum depression. So we went to my GP and we had a little bit of a chat, and he asked me if I would like to start on antidepressants. And at the time I said, no, I don't think I do. Antidepressants aren't going to fix my problems. It's not going to make my baby stop crying. It's not going to give me more sleep. But in hindsight, I know that actually having my body supported, having that need filled, would have made it a lot easier for me to deal with those challenges that I had. So to this day, it is one of my biggest regrets with that first postpartum period. The other thing that we looked at was making sure that we had a good support network around us. So that if we were struggling, or even just to make everything easier and a bit more enjoyable, that we would have a better support network the second time around, both personally with family and friends, but also professionally, so that if I was having a really bad day, I could actually pick up the phone and I had someone to call. So, cue baby number 2. While I was pregnant with Espen, there was definitely a moment where I experienced acute bout of perinatal distress. We had lots of things going on, lots of different things that on their own were somewhat distressing, but all together I realised I was not okay and I needed help. So I told my gynecologist.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
What did it feel like when you realised that you were experiencing the distress?
Yeah, so for anybody didn't hear that, Amy just asked what it felt like when I realised that I was having that acute bout of distress. Excellent question. So I went from feeling okay and coping, and then the next day I was just not. My nerves were on edge. I noticed that I had very little patience. Just feeling really unhappy and frustrated and overwhelmed. And what I also noticed was, now I'm bringing in my health background here, but you may have heard of the fight, flight, fright response. So that's the part of the nervous system, it's called the sympathetic nervous system. And it's geared towards keeping us alive, being active, all of that stuff. And I felt that my sympathetic nervous system was on high alert all the time. So for me, that physically felt like my body was humming, and not in a nice way. And recognizing that, I thought, yeah, I need to do something about this. So yes, I called my midwife in absolute tears, saying, I'm not okay, I need help, what can I do? And she checked me out over the phone, and she said to me that if you need to, you can go to White Cross. Sorry, over the phone. And I said, okay. And during the call, she was able to sort of calm me down and make sure that I was okay and that it wasn't an emergency situation, which at that time it wasn't. But a few days later, I did go to White Cross, and I realised that, yeah, I'm not okay. I think I do need to start the antidepressants now. And GPs are a little bit inundated, so there's no way I could get in immediately. So White Cross it was. Thank you to the staff there who looked after me. So a few days later, we sort of looked at the pros and cons and decided that yes, we'll go on the antidepressants, booked in to see my GP, and sort of made a plan with that so that we were taking dosages and all that was safe for pregnancy. And I have to say it helped. I'm so glad that I did. And my partner said to me that, thank you for going on them, and I said it was the easiest decision of my life at that time. And going on from that, so after Espen was born, the rest of the pregnancy went really well. The antidepressants definitely did help give me that emotional resilience that I needed in order to sort out all of those other things that were really stressing me out and affecting me quite negatively. And what came from that was this problem-solving approach that I started to be able to apply to other areas in my life. So I realized there was two children, one who was crying and teething horrendously, and another who was, sometimes upset, and maybe the TV was going, and it was just a lot of noise from lots of different areas. And I came to realize that, gee, I have a bit of noise sensitivity, because I could feel as the volume was going up and the sources of noise were coming and going, that same thing, my sympathetic nervous system was starting to hum, and I did not like it at all. So I started looking for earplugs. I thought, you know what, if noise is the problem, let's plug that out. And I would have loved to find a local business, but unfortunately I didn't. But I did come across this brand in Belgium called Loop, and they make several earplugs. One of which is called Switch, and it allows you to change the volume and frequency that comes in. And having gotten those, it was such an incredible thing being able to control the volume at which I was hearing life. And being able to put it on the quietest setting, for example, meant that my nervous system just had a chance to chill out a little bit. And wearing them for 4 days straight, by the 5th day after that, I realized that my baseline for my nervous system had dropped. So I was generally just calmer, and I didn't need to wear them as often. It really helped. The other solution that I found was, can't remember if I bought it for during my pregnancy with Espen, but Habit. They are a breathing tool, a breathing necklace, and they're specifically designed to help with stress and anxiety and help your nervous system chill out. And I have to say, it's absolutely life-changing, absolutely amazing. So I'm wearing them today, and they're a little bit gorgeous. Julia, who makes them, thank you so much for your mahi and making these. They really make such a difference. So same thing, when I noticed that my nervous system was starting to get quite panicked, I would reach for my breathing necklace and just breathe out. And by the second breath, so the Habit tool slows the breath and it supports your parasympathetic nervous system. So basically just dulls down the fight-flight response. Within the second out breath, I could just feel my shoulders dropped. That humming started to drop, and also just, again, feeling calmer, able to assess situations and not be as reactive to what was going on around me. So yeah, just this problem-solving ability was something new for me with the second pregnancy that I didn't have the first time, and I really wish that I had. So that's why I'm sharing it with you today. So yeah, in a nutshell, just having these tools and problem solving, having the space and awareness to give myself a little quiet space, internally and externally, to just reset a little bit, has been one of the most empowering experiences of my life, especially as a parent. And it was basically what they did was that I would recognize that I wasn't okay with whatever was going on in that moment, feeling really overwhelmed, and being able to physically reach for something, because I do know how to do these breathing exercises, that wasn't the problem. But I did notice that these breathing tools did slow the breath far more efficiently than what I could do on my own. And yeah, they were really good. And I was going to start this talk off with saying, I'm not here to tell you how to be a perfect parent, because I'm not a perfect parent. And this quote from Sue Atkins is quite good. There is no such thing as a perfect parent, so just be a real one. Thank you all.
I was going to ask you a couple of questions.
So let me go for it.
obviously your two pregnancies were a little bit different in the way you approach things. In the first pregnancy, was it a case of you not being able to recognise what you were feeling and you didn't know what it was?
I think it was more a case of just being completely overwhelmed. So when you're dealing with sleep deprivation, which I realised that I did not handle very well, handled it much better the second time around. So yeah, just feeling completely overwhelmed. I felt like I was drowning. And when you're in that state, it's really difficult, almost impossible to sort of break out of that and be able to step back and say, hey, you need to take a step back, take a moment, take a breath, just reset, and then readdress the situation.
And so because we get a lot of women in that state, a lot of parents in that state. So is there something that you think would have helped you in that time when you weren't able to ask for help? Is there something that, as providers, could have you check that would have helped? Is there something that would have maybe helped to identify where you're at?
Yeah, I think the knowledge that I have now around perinatal mental health means that I felt much more confident, much more capable, and a bit more empowered with my mental health the second time around. I also had the unfortunate bad luck of when my mental health started to decline and I started being really challenged by it. It was right at that cusp of I was coming to the end of my free care at 6 weeks and going into clinical care, and I think clinic had a bit of a restructure at the time. So I ended up just falling through the cracks, and I think that was the most difficult thing. Whereas the second time around, when I had a chat with my midwife, we went through sort of a questionnaire to assess your mental health and where you're at. And we did that a few times. It was really valuable to do. And they also referred me to RTE, who came and did visits with me sort of fortnightly, checking on how we were, and just having a continuity of care. Perinatally, which was amazing.
Yeah. And so after I think speak here, you're going to come back and do a little workshop with us, and I know will help a lot of people. But if you could leave women or birthing parents with one piece of advice who are feeling overwhelmed and don't know what would that be?
You're not alone. Bringing a child into the world, it is a big thing. It's a very challenging thing, and I think we do need to talk about it. Don't be scared to have open and honest conversations with your partner, with your family, with your healthcare provider. There are people around you that want to help you, but they can't help you if they don't know that you're struggling.
Awesome. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll see you again soon. Next up, we've got Mitch Thompson from Mentor in Whangarei. He has gone through his own fatherhood journey, which he's going to share with you, but also supports a lot of other men entering fatherhood, and some that are not, but today we'll be focusing on ones that are fatherhood. So, Mitch, welcome. Thank you very much.
Kia ora whanau. So thank you, Amy. So my name is Mitch Thompson, and I guess I wear many different hats throughout the week, some on certain days and others on certain other days. The one hat in particular that I wear is as the founder of a beautiful organisation called the Mental Health Club Charitable Trust, and I'll touch on where we came from and what we do in a second. But I guess the most important hat that I wear every single day of the week is as a father, and that's a hat that you can never take off. You just put another hat on over top of that hat, right? And that's me. But anyway, where did the Mental Health Club come from? So the Mental Health Club Charitable Trust really came from this guy here on the screen. So this is my cousin, Jamie, Jim Bob. He went by many names. Some of them I can't share here because they're not very easy. But Jim was like my rock. He was my big brother. He was my cousin, but he was 2 years older than me, so he was really like my big brother growing up with the thickest things. Sadly, Jim, on the 12th of December 2015, Jim was diagnosed with stage 4 terminal cancer in okay? And I just remember in that moment, my life felt like it had been thrown into a snow globe and shaken violently. And I think I felt every emotion known to man all in the space of a moment, having found out. I was very fortunate enough that my wife and I were able to go back and visit Jim, because sadly in August of the following year, less than 12 months later, Jim was no longer with us. And I guess after Jim died, I'd never really experienced grief on that kind of level, and I'd never really known that level of suffering, whilst also trying to carry on about my day-to-day life, right? You know, I've got 4 children, one of which we welcomed into the world shortly before Jim died in June. So we were battling with, you know, another newborn baby, 3 other children. We were moving from Auckland up to Whangarei at the same time, so there was just a lot going on. And I remember feeling very isolated, and like I didn't really have anyone to share that with, because the person that I would normally share that stuff with was the person that I was actually grieving. And that's not to say that I didn't feel like I could talk to my wife or I could talk to my family, but I guess I just didn't want to, right? The person that I wanted to talk to was a person that just wasn't there anymore. So I found that really confronting and really challenging. And I remember having a conversation one day with my mother-in-law, and she said, I can really tell that you're struggling. Why don't you try and find a group of men, you know, a men's group where you can go and talk about this stuff and hopefully feel a little bit better. So I remember looking for that and really trying to find something, and just falling flat, finding nothing existed. So I guess I kind of decided to create my own, right, in a way. And in 2018, founded a mental health club. So where we started, we were just an Instagram page back in 2018. It was just a place for me to anonymously put my thoughts and feelings and what was going on in my head out into the big back world, and but not have a face to the name, because that stigma was still very real for me. I didn't feel comfortable talking about it and letting people know it was me behind the screen. And that started to change. We started to gain some traction, and in 2020, I decided it was time to bite the bullet and put my name to the face to the name, because you can't really talk about telling people it's okay and don't worry about the stigma, and it's not weak to speak if you're not prepared to put your own face to it. Right? So in 2020, I decided it was time to put a face to that name. And then things really progressed from there. So during COVID times, we started to run weekly online men's check-ins on a Monday evening. We had guys joining from all around the world. Actually, we had guys from the States, from Indonesia, from South Africa, from the UK, Australia, and also New Zealand. And really we grew from there. So in 2022, we decided it was time to kick things up another notch, and we registered ourselves as a registered charity here in Aotearoa. And then as time went on, everyone got a little bit sick and tired of Zoom calls. The world started to resume some form of normality, and everyone was just a little bit over talking to a screen, I think. So participation on the online stuff started to fizzle and fade away, and we decided at that point that it was time to focus our efforts more locally. So in 2023, we launched our barbershop chats, which were a monthly event at the time. We had a guest speaker every month, and it was really just a local person within the community sharing about what the goings on were in their life and how they dealt with it. And everybody found that sort of relatable. As we grew, the barbershop just was not big enough. And we decided that we really need to increase that frequency. So in late 2023, we moved to a weekly men's check-in, which we're still running today. So that runs from 6:30 to 8:30. And we've just moved to a new premises up at the Maris Sport Club in Kensington, which we are super excited about. There's a lot of room there. It's a similar size venue to this, where we've just got lots of room to be able to grow that and support off the further. So I guess, so what we do, so today we're an organisation that prides ourselves on being the connectors within our communities to help men. So really we help connect men to other men for peer support and some connection through our support groups. But we also help connect men to professional services, because when you're stuck in a rut and you don't quite know what's going on, you can't quite think straight. Sometimes it's really hard to be able to work out who is the right person for me to call, who is the right person I should be speaking to, and I should be sent. So that's where we step in and we help with that. So it could be counselling, it could be some drug and alcohol addiction issues, domestic violence, parenting through separation, or just one-on-one support sessions through peer support. We go to people for that, I guess, for me, in this community here in Whangarei. If anyone has any other questions around what we do, or if anyone wants to get in touch because they feel like they need some support, or they know somebody that needs some support, just drop us an email on hello@mentor.org.nz, and someone will be back in touch with you. But obviously, I'll be here. So for those in the room, I'll be here afterwards. But anyone watching online, just drop us an email and we'll reach out and find out how we can give you some support. So obviously we're here today to talk about perinatal mental health. And as I said at the start there, I wear another hat that I wear all the time, and that's my father hat. And I guess my journey into fatherhood was slightly different to the usual, and it definitely wasn't the way that Disney portrays it, right? So I think Disney's got a lot to answer for, because when we're kids and we're watching Disney movies and everything's perfect, and you meet somebody and you fall in love and you get married, you have kids, and then you live happily ever after. And that's just not reality, right? Not everyone has that experience, and I didn't have that experience. And when I met my wife, sure, I fell in love, but she came with a child, so I sort of became an overnight parent of sorts. And I think that was really challenging. If I think about that now, that was a challenging time, because suddenly there's this 3-year-old child that is looking to me for guidance and looking to me for support naturally, and I had to learn very quickly how to be a parent, and made a terrible job of it, I think, at certain times, and certain times I think I did a good job. And I think we learn and we grow as we go on. But I think, fatherhood is definitely the hardest job in the world, as I'm sure motherhood is, and parenthood in general. But that was definitely a challenging time in my life, was bringing on this 3-year-old and nurturing them and I guess giving them what they needed. And then we went on to have our own children. And I think when we had our first child, it was challenging again. Our first child, we had real issues with sleeping, and we still have issues to this day with sleeping. He's almost 12. But that was a really difficult time. He was a colic baby. There was a lack of sleep. There was a lack of joy, I think, at certain times. But also trying to balance. I'd made this really good and strong relationship with this 3-year-old child that I'd taken on board as if it was my own. But then trying to balance that against now this child that is my own. And trying to be really conscious that I wasn't playing them off, I wasn't showing favouritism. I think that was challenging. And I think that was challenging for our 3-year-old, who at that point was 5, thank you, Hannah, because suddenly we had to share that love and share that connection with somebody else, right? But we know that 1 in 10 men, new or expectant fathers, suffer with some form of perinatal mental health. And interestingly, the other week in one of our check-ins, I said that I was coming here today to talk, and one of the guys in the crowd said, "Man, I don't know how's the thing. I don't know that men can suffer with a baby blues." And I think sometimes it just gets masked into just everyday depression, right? And everyday what's going on. We don't think about it with men as being the baby blues like we do with mums. But it's real. And I think some of the reasons that we don't think of it that way for us as men, the fear of upsetting mum, right? I know I had this really guilty feeling when I'd come home from work and I'd just be exhausted. Because the reality is mum's done all the work in bringing that baby to the world and has done all the hard work. And I think that we can really feel that guilt sometimes inside, that we don't want to come home and go, "Man, I'm so tired," when this lady's been at home all day nurturing our baby, feeding our baby, and then for us to turn around and go, "Shit, I'm tired, I'm just going to go to bed." It's never going to go down very well, right? So I think there is sometimes a real fear of upsetting the balance there with mum. And I think stigma that society's created around, not only perinatal, men's mental health in general, but around perinatal mental health. So as I said, one of the guys in our group said, "I didn't realise that was a thing. I didn't realise men could have babies." But we know that society has a real issue with men's mental health and the way we look at it. And we've only got to look at the stats, and the stats will tell us that. So I'm not sure if you can see it on the live stream, but on our side over here, on average we lose 1 man every 60 seconds globally to suicide. That's a crazy statistic, right? So 640,000 men a year take their life because they just feel like they can't go on. That's a massive number. And a lot of that is because of the stigma, because we have this bravado as men that we have to be a certain way. We can't be vulnerable. We can't talk about the hard times. We can't talk about the stuff that's going wrong in our lives. And that's where we come in and we want to challenge that, and we want to change that narrative. I think another reason for men and perinatal mental health that have not been spoken about is often as boys, young boys, we're not taught how to manage those emotions. We're not taught how to process them. We're not taught how to sit there and actually feel them for what they are and then speak about them. And some of that's generational, right? If I think about my parents, my father wasn't taught how to process his emotions. His father probably wasn't taught how to process his emotions, and I wasn't taught how to process mine, not adequately anyway. And again, some of that's driven by society, because as a man, you know, you've got to suck it up, like, get on, you know, you got to be a man. You got to go to work, you got to provide, you got to be a man. And you got to have tough enough. Come on, man, wipe those tears away. Cry for girls and boys. I was told that as a kid, and I'm sure many other men were told that as kids as well, right? And again, so we want to challenge that. This screen here, I spoke to a couple of guys the other day, and I said, a couple of guys that are now fathers, and I said, what was some of the stuff running through your head when you were about to become a father? Right? And this is just some of the words that they use. So, will I be a good dad? I need to knuckle down at work. Will my partner be okay? You know, will we still get on and enjoy life? What if I don't know what to do? You know, there's so much anxiety around bringing a child into the world, because that's a massive responsibility. So all of these things combined just play on that anxiety and play on those thoughts and feelings that are running through our head. And often as men, we're not great communicators, so we then have no way to process this. We have no way of talking about this and letting other people know what's going on inside our heads. And I think that's probably been one of the hardest things for me to learn, is how to talk about it. And it's really taken me the better part of a decade to be in a position where I can openly talk about that and I can articulate what's going on. But I'm still rubbish at it at times as well. You know, I think this morning, you know, talking about communication, this morning I said to my wife, said to me, what time do you need to leave today? And I said, 8 a.m. And she said, it doesn't start till 10. I said, yeah, I've got to go get the barbecue, I've got to get the barbecue set up. She said, don't tell me anything about the barbecue. And then I realised, shit, I didn't tell her anything about the barbecue, right? Because we're rubbish communicators, even when we've been trying to practice this stuff and get better at it. But look, I think my biggest point that I want to make here today really is check in on them. You know, we know that men are suffering, we know that men are going through it too, we know that we don't like to talk about that stuff. And please, if you're a lady, check in on your partner. If you're a man, check in on your buddy, check in on yourself as well. Ask yourself, how am I today? So in all of our meetings, we use a scale. We use a scale system. How are you today out of 10? You know, 10 being you're on top of the world, and 1 being bloody awful. Because what we've found over time is that everybody can give themselves a marking out of 10 to say where they're at. And it's a really good way to gauge where somebody's at. Because if I was to say to you, Amy, how are you today out of 10? What would you say?
I'm pretty high today, about an 8.
About an 8. So I know you're in a good space, right? But if I was to ask somebody else and they were to go, oh, I'm probably 2. I know they're feeling pretty shit. And I know that we're going to have to then try and break around and work out what we can do to help support them. So please check in on people, ask the questions. Perinatal mental health is not exclusive. It's not just for ladies, it is for us men as well. And men, be better at communicating. Be better at opening up and talking about that stuff and saying, hey, I'm not okay and I need some help. That's me. Sure.
You mentioned at times a lack of joy
Yeah.
parenting, which I get. And I suspect with that, as you mentioned, comes the guilt following feeling that. How did you kind of reason that out for yourself and feel okay about feeling those things? Because I think it kind of escalates for some people and it's just this level of guilt and
Yeah. I don't know that I did process it, to be honest. Not until recent times. You know, I think it's probably only recently where I'm reflecting back on, you know, we had lots going on, you know, ups and downs with both my mental health, with Hannah's mental health, with everything else going on in our lives. And, you know, something else traumatic happening on the other side of the world, moving from one region to the other region. We had so much going on that I don't know that I gave it the time to reflect on it and work through that until recently. It's tricky because it is like stripping the joy out of it sometimes, because it becomes, I guess at times it feels like a chore, it feels like a task, right? It's just something else you've got to do. But yeah, I think if I could go back, I would talk about it a lot more. Like I would open up to Hannah, I would open up to other people around me, and then probably that joy would come back a lot quicker than it did previously.
And you know, you say ask your husband or partner how they're feeling. Is there a kind of, because we were talking yesterday about how different males and females are in terms of communicating this stuff. Females are a lot more open and ready to share with their friend. You can get quite quickly into the depth with the female to female situation.
Yeah.
But if I was to look at my partner and see that he's struggling, he comes home from work and sits down on the couch, I mean, kind of my natural thing is, what's going on? Why are you feeling that? You know, just go and rest for a bit and get out that hole. Is there a way to that a female can approach a man to try to work out where they're at. I mean, the 1 to 10 thing could work, but is there a way that's kind of nice?
I think the check-in system, the scan, I think we found that works so well. It's a nice, easy entry into just how you're feeling. And you don't even really need to expand further. If someone tells you there are 2, perhaps they just need some time behind it, but just there are 2, so I think then you can have a read on it and you can continue to monitor and watch. And maybe then try and engage into some other conversations. Why are you 2? What's going on?
Yeah.
But I think just a simple, how you out of 10, we just find it works so well in every situation.
Yeah. And then obviously, particularly the perinatal mental health and, whānau mental health at that sort of pregnancy and 1 to 2 year period is geared towards females. Is there something that as a system, and obviously we're completely on the resources, I'm not even saying that this can happen, but as a system, is there something that can be put in place for men at some point in that period that would help? That's obviously just your point of view, but I'm just interested.
Yeah, I think it's tricky, right? Because, like I say, I'll put this down, sorry. I think it's tricky because it depends where you are in the country and what resources are available around you. I think if you're here in Northland, then I would encourage you to come along to our, as a man, come along to our weekly meetings on Monday. We are about to kickstart them again and launch them back online. So if you are elsewhere in the country, I guess keep an eye on our socials and stuff because they are going to come online. But finding somebody you can talk about, there's all these coffee groups that exist for mums and babies, and there's not many that exist for fathers. So I think if you're watching this on the live stream and you're elsewhere around the country, then start something. Just start up a coffee club for me. It doesn't always. I think as men, what we default to is we default to catching up over a beer, and that doesn't always end well. Or sport, but particularly over a beer, alcohol doesn't always end well. So I would encourage people to meet up for coffee.
And so I guess the other part that I'm trying to get to there is like when women go along to sort of their pumpkin checks, the checks are in place that then go through a checklist of questions for the nurse to try and understand where that individual's at. And I don't know if that happens to men or if a man did go along to one of those checks, are there questions that would work? I guess maybe we'll go back to the 1 to 10 where the male is at. Again, I think it's all geared towards females, and if the man shows up for an appointment, it's kind of like, we need to get him out of the room so that we can talk to the woman to see if she's at. The men aren't necessarily in the room for those appointments. Is there something that needs to change there?
That's a really good question. I'm sorry.
Sorry. We didn't talk about this before.
I think just changing our perception on some stuff with other people, so people that are asking those questions. Like, why can't we ask those questions? Why can't we ask the same questions that we ask the mothers and the fathers? There's no reason that we can't. Unless it's something specific that's only coming to a lady, then fair enough. But I think all the other questions that we ask mothers, why can't we ask those to fathers? I think the world and society in general just has this real silo view on parenthood and babies, and we gear everything up towards mums. I shared with Rochelle the other day when we caught up for coffee that it used to really annoy me when my kids were younger and I would take them out for the day. But I had to really fight for somewhere that had an available changing space. Because in no men's toilet is there a changing space. And some places don't have a parent. So then I'd be changing my kid in the boot of the car, or I'd be taking my jersey off and putting it down on the dirty floor. It's just.
Well, even if they get older, a female taking their son into the bathroom, totally acceptable.
Correct.
Taking a daughter in, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You go into the male toilet.
Yeah. I think we need to change our views, and I think any question that we ask of a mum, why can't we ask it of a father?
And you probably touched on this already, but I just want to finish with the same question that I asked Rochelle. If you could leave our male viewers today with one piece of advice, what would it be?
Feel your feelings. I say this all the time, feel your feelings. And people often ask me, what do I mean by that? And I mean just allow yourself to sit with them and feel them for what they are and try and work out why they're feeling them. Because too often we try and suppress them and just push them aside because it's uncomfortable. And I've been there and it's been super uncomfortable, and it's only until recent times where I guess I've moved to try and sit in for longer, and it's still bloody uncomfortable sometimes. And I think it always will be, but the more we practice just actually feeling them and processing them for what they truly are, the better. Because if we can do that, we can be better men. If we can be better men, we can be better husbands, better fathers, better brothers, better sons, better everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sure.
You know,
Taz,
do you want me to come here or here?
You
or-
maybe come here, say one on the live stream.
More of an acknowledgement than questions, although maybe questions will come up. Mamahi nui kia koe. Ngā mihi mahana, tō kōrero e tēnei ata, mō rātou pāpā, mō te rohe. Thank you so much for your kōrero this morning. It's more than just bravery sometimes to have this kōrero. Ko Tash whanero maua ko Tony Makiha. We are we've been part of PARA before. We also facilitate ngā mana mohini kupu, which is our hapuwana, or our antenatal space for whānau, well, not just for whānau, only for everybody. And exactly what you're talking about comes up a lot. So when we're speaking about baby blues, antenatal anxiety and depressions, to absolutely say to our dads, yes, you can go through this as well. Yes, if you're feeling these things, these feelings are real as well. And yes, you have a space to be able to talk with other dads, to be there with other dads. It's so powerful. So in our group, sometimes Tony comes along and does that part of it for us. He takes the dads away. They go and have their own kōrero somewhere around, not in our ears, for exactly those reasons that you put up on the board, because I don't want to worry mum anymore, and she's already, I don't want to tell her my real feelings about how I feel towards this child. I may have only just met her, don't really know her name, and now she's telling me we're having a baby, and I'm supposed to feel some kind of way. So they go away and they have their kōrero. We never report on their kōrero. We don't even ask Tony when he comes back what it might have been about, or what was the themes, or anything like that, because you absolutely have to have that privacy in that space to be able to feel comfortable to share. So I didn't know that you guys existed. I'm mahi for Ngāti Hene Health Trust. I'm the creator here for Kawitonima, which is our 0 to 5 year old PP, and same for you, is that suicide is the biggest maternal killer as well. We lost the mama. We lost the mama from Otito just a couple of weeks ago. So we went to her and we sent her off with our love. We don't go into our and you know, we can't solve everything, we can't be there for everything, but the more visibility we have in this kind of way, the more we can collaborate. So we run some tiny water programs as well. And so they have big activities, because like I said, over a beer isn't always the best thing. So maybe they do motorhome, maybe they do going fishing, going hunting, going diving, that kind of stuff too. But yeah, for our mamas as well, it's quite a vulnerable space, isn't it? So I thank you so much for doing this, and the involvement of Brown Brothers, because that's Tony's father as well, so yes. And thank you for bringing us together tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, that's us. I would like to welcome Rochelle back. Rochelle's going to take us through an activity to help you identify where you are and work through the mental health space at a vulnerable time. We've got papers here that we've printed out, but Rochelle will talk those of you online through it, and perhaps if you just want to take a second to grab a piece of paper and a pen, and she'll be able to talk you through it through the activity online. Welcome.
Oh, hello again. All right, so I, over the course of preparing for this event, I have developed this little tool for everyone to have a look at. Now, I have designed it specifically for mental health in general, even though it is, we're using it today as a tool for perinatal mental health. So even if you aren't a parent, if you're tuning in, please take the time to engage, as it can be quite a valuable exercise as well. So my mental wellbeing methods, nice little pun there, getting into some mum humour. So my mental wellbeing methods has been designed as a tool to help empower you with your mental health and wellness. When we approach our mental health openly and proactively, it allows us to better understand how our circumstances affect us and how we can best look after ourselves in times of distress. The boxes below are for you to identify the things that positively and negatively affect your mental well-being. Using these, you can then problem solve solutions to the things that challenge you and explore the things that help you recover and thrive. I want to reiterate that there are no wrong answers here. If the boxes don't work for you, just scribble all over it. It really doesn't matter. So please don't feel like you have to be boxed in, as it were. Speaking of boxes though, in the first box we have the things that cause me distress. So a list of factors that compromise, challenge, and jeopardize my mental health. So we'll go through that one first. So when you think about the things that you find really difficult, I'll run you through mine and you can write it at the same time. Sleep deprivation. As a parent, that's often a pretty big one. It just makes it really hard to sort of have energy through the day, be able to cope with everything that comes your way. So I think as a parent, sleep deprivation is it's a big one. Crying kids. Noise sensitivity. How many of you struggle with that? Feeling touched out. This is a common thing with breastfeeding parents. When you've constantly got a little baby on you that's wanting to be held, wanting to be fed, sometimes just crying, and sometimes you need to hold them to sleep. If you put them down, they wake up. So, constantly holding the baby, and especially if you've got other kids as well that also want your love and attention. Stress in general. Life doesn't stop happening just because we have a baby. And whether it's family stress or work stress or feeling stressed out from world events, all of these things do impact us and can contribute to our level of stress that we're feeling at any one time. Feeling run down. Probably quite a good one now that we're heading into winter and we've got all the winter bugs. And when you're tired, it's really easy to sort of let go of your self-care, and it's really easy to quickly start to feel run down. We'll go back to this one. All right, sorry. We're looking again. All right, so do you want to just take a moment to write things down, and we'll get into the next one, which is already started. Yes, Derek. For those of you that are joining us online, we will be releasing this. I'm not sure if the document's been put on for people to access. Not yet, that's okay. We will be making this publicly available. So it can be a very valuable exercise to do when you're expecting a baby, and then also repeating the process, after baby's here, maybe in a few years. Just whenever you feel like the mental health is in a bit of a challenged state, it can be a really good check-in for yourself. So let's start going through the things that bring me healing. This other box here. So a list of factors that nourish, protect, and support my mental health. So the first one is naps. I found they're really good on the sleep deprivation. I am not one to nap. If I'm napping during the day, I am beyond exhausted. In my life, there's only been, I would say, 3 times that I have routinely napped in the afternoon. Both times immediately postpartum for the first 3 or 4 weeks. Just like constant night waves every few hours. It really can challenge your energy levels. So having a nap in the afternoon, if you've got a baby, napping with your baby can be just a really nice little top up and make those difficult nights a little bit easier to deal with. And so with this one, a nice example of how you can just scribble all over this page. If you've got things in your distress column, you can put an arrow into the other one and write a nice solution for it. So for me, with the noise sensitivity, that was the earplugs. And I cannot stress how much of a difference that made to the way that I was able to move through the world, because all of a sudden the world wasn't as loud. Wearing these earplugs while driving, just realizing actually how much road noise there is and how much calmer I felt driving in the car when I had these earplugs in. A note on that one, if you're wearing earplugs at night, please make sure that you can hear your baby. Earplugs are not designed in this instance to drown out the sounds of your child who needs care and attention. For us, I bought myself 2 sets of earplugs. One was the switch so I could change the volume during the day. I also bought another one of the quiet earplugs. It's just a silicone one. With those ones, they're not noise cancelling. So for me, even wearing them at night helped me sleep better. Couldn't really get snoring, and I could still hear my baby right next to me really close sleeping. But if I had those quiet earplugs in while my baby was napping and I was at the other end of the house, I could not hear the baby. So I only did that once. Another thing that helps, me time. How many people routinely schedule in some time for yourself? That, you know, that can look like a whole bunch of different things. It might be reading a book. It might be having a shower. It might be going to the toilet on your own without a little one tagging along. It might be going out to the movies. It might be catching up with a friend. It might be going out for coffee and having those chats. So whatever me time looks like for you, pop it on the list. So specifically for the stress, this is where my heartbeat necklace comes in. And so I did speak about this before. Now we have been very fortunate. Julia has gifted us a heart habit tool for us to give away. So for every person that donates to this fundraiser, you will be going in the door to win a beautiful silver blue heart habit breathing necklace. And I'm so excited. They really are beautiful. It's the one that I'm wearing today as well. This one's mine. So we will be drawing that in June. So this is the fundraiser, which I'm changing my head shortly. Our goal is 10K, and the fundraiser is running until the end of this month, and then we'll draw the giveaway at the end of June. I have been starting to get a few emails this morning with a few pings saying that there's been a few donations. So we're slowly getting towards the first K. So if you're watching this, please consider donating. PARTA is not government funded, and these sorts of funds, this sort of fundraising allows PARTA to put on events like this for parents or healthcare providers that are looking after expecting and postpartum PARTA. It is a really, really cause, and I'm so feeling very honoured that I'm able to contribute in this way. So another one is the Bring Me Healing books. Getting out in nature, getting some fresh air, really just having a change of scene, right? it's nice to be a little bit active, your body thrives with movement, and just getting moving can be really good. For me, it's also the antidepressants. So, as an osteopath, generally my philosophy is, don't take medication if you don't need to, if it's not helping, yada yada. Now, a little bit more wisdom in terms of my perinatal mental health. I know that the antidepressants do help. They're not happy pills by any means. They just give you some emotional resilience, so it's much easier to deal with your life throws at you. And eating well and taking vitamins is another one. So when you're feeling run down, your body needs all of those nutrients for all of the physiological processes, for giving you energy, for healing, for a whole bunch of different things. So if you're not getting the nutrition that you need through your diet, supplements with vitamins, etc., it's very easy to do run down and get trouble. So yeah, you all taking a moment to write stuff down there while we're chatting? Very good. So yeah, like I say, this document will still will be available publicly. It is intended just to be out there and to help.
Michelle, I was just wondering if we could take a minute to maybe just brainstorm a couple more as a group, maybe just for the online people as well. Yeah. Because I'm sure some people will have a few that they might want to add. I was thinking about adding things that cause me stress, external pressures from people, potentially telling you things you should be doing or shouldn't be doing. So that's definitely something that causes me stress. And the other thing that I wanted to touch on is particularly the naps, young ladies. So obviously getting sleep when you're your baby is almost impossible. And sleep is a critical component to keeping your mental health stable. So when you can't get it, naps are actually a great thing. And I don't know if anyone's heard of the 26-minute NASA nap, which is actually from NASA, proven to actually buy you some extra cognitive ability when you're lacking sleep. So don't shy away from the naps. If you can't sleep through the night with your baby, take every opportunity to nap. And don't worry about the people telling you that you should be doing washing at that time. I'm taking a 26-minute NASA nap, and that's scientifically proven. Okay? I just wondered if anyone else here had anything that they wanted to add into any of these categories as well. There's some finger pointing going on, but nobody's looking.
Okay, we will.
Yeah.
Tony says riding his motorbike.
Yeah.
Laughing.
So
Drawing.
riding a motorbike is something that brings you joy. Riding doesn't bring her joy. She's like, oh, that's
No, mine is being alone. And sex.
Yeah,
We decided.
how do you go? What?
I'm just writing it on his list.
Fantastic. Anyone else?
Chopping firewood.
Chopping firewood.
There you go.
That way, 2 words, get rid of your stress and you can bring firewood.
And you're warm in winter.
Really good. As soon as you press the door, you can imagine that this firewood is there.
Okay.
I would probably also add the difference in my personal expectations of myself as a parent the first time around, vastly different to the second time around. So with our first child, I felt a real pressure to do everything right. So, we got into the cloth nappies, which, I love that, they are really great. But also with the starting solids, read a lot about baby led weaning and, making sure that they get all of the nutrition. And obviously all of that stuff is really good. With the baby led weaning, the second time around, I think in hindsight, I probably could have waited a few weeks with my first one. Just we go through a vision to, she's 6 months old now, we can start the food. Whereas with my second, around 6 months, he just really started to, he was keen, and I thought with our daughter, maybe you should have waited a few more weeks. And with the benefit of hindsight, I would have taken that pressure off of myself. And certainly not going to be nursing for as long this time around. There was sort of a little bit of pride thing to see how long we could keep going, and I the first time nursing for 2 years. But that takes a lot out of you when you're breastfeeding for that long. So I definitely noticed the moment that I stopped nursing my eldest, that just my energy levels just picked up, even though I didn't get much at that point. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing my energy levels back to where we were through this phase. Yeah. Alright, so just a final one to finish up with this workshop. Be courageous and persevering in your pursuit of your health, well-being, and self-empowerment. You are worth it. Thank you.
So now is the moment we've all been waiting for. And I wanted to note that Michelle has dyed her hair blue, and I'm not sure if that was just because you like pale blue, or if it was referring to the blue monster that you referred to in your presentation.
So a little bit of both. So I would say, well, one eye, but as you know, in the back of my mind, like, oh, there's so nice mermaid here. How lovely would that be? So I thought, oh, maybe it's an opportunity to have some fun. But more importantly, I decided to dye my hair blue in honour and solidarity of every parent, not just mums, but dads as well, and not bound by their parents. In honour and solidarity of every parent who has experienced or been challenged by the baby blues. So I'm not sure how long this comes out, but it's all going.
So we're just going to set up to take the final part of this and shave in your hair. Yeah. So just give us a moment while we do that. I've been asked to put a top down.
While we're setting up, if there's any questions from online, I think there may have been some issues with the Facebook stream initially, but it should be running now on Carter's profile. So anyone that's joining us from Facebook or YouTube, if you've got any questions, please pop them in, and we will do our best to try and answer them. Second up, and I'm aware always if we can.
Almost like a little market. It's going to be fine.
Yes, I can't actually. I don't think there's any on that one. And there's nothing in the chat here at the moment, no. I don't think we've got any. Okay.
Right. But do you do it with or not?
Oh, yeah, definitely not doing this.
Okay, I'm doing it. It's going to be great.
I tell you what, yesterday after we set up here and took the kids to Blue Honey Park, and I thought, oh, gee, you know what, it is chilly, so yes, I did remember to put it in. I'm excited.
Hold on to the microphone.
I know.
Don't play on the jacket. All right, starting again.
Yeah, we'll just go for it. So these, okay.
Here we go. We're just going to go with the spacer first, and then we'll do the final bit and go over from there.
It's a little bit of a minute too, but this is like a fun hug. That's right. We got nowhere else to be.
Well, I do have a plane to catch at 2:30.
So yeah, if you're watching from the comfort of your own home, that's donation link.
Everybody donate now.
Your hair is so beautiful.
I love the blue. It'd be like donate your
I
hair.
have to say it has been quite fun having blue hair. And I've had, I've had a few people ask, oh yeah, why are you shaving? Like of all the things to do. I have shaved my hair once before while I was studying, and I fundraised for a canteen, and it was a lot of fun. But at the time, I remember on the day I sort of chickened out a little bit, and some of the others there was a few of us that were shaving. One of the other girls, she decided to go for a number 5, and I thought, oh, well, she's going for a 5, maybe I should go for like a number 3. And as soon as I had shaved it and felt it, I thought, oh, this is really cool, but I really wish I'd gone down to a 0. And so in that moment, I knew that I would do this once more in my life. And I've had a few people ask me, are you sure you want to go down to a 0? And I said, well, I don't really want to shave my hair a 3rd time, so yes, let's do it.
I think if I would do it, and I'm like standing back, I think I'd rather jump out of the plane. I don't know why though. Should be a great feeling.
Yeah, and I had also somebody ask me, are you sure you want to shave it? If you just want to cut the hair, there's lots of lengths in between long hair and the 0 shave. And I said to them, yeah, but my postpartum hair loss has been a little bit harder this time around. My hair is actually causing me a little bit of mental distress. So it's quite sad just seeing it falling out every time I brush my hair. To everyone watching, if you're experiencing the same and it's making you feel a little bit down, I'm not advocating to shave your hair unless you want to, but just know that you're not alone. It's starting to feel a little bit cool on one side. When I thought about my hair and how it was making me feel, and actually what kind of impact it was having on my mental health, I was actually finding it quite distressing. I was quite surprised at how distressing it was making me feel. And then I thought, well, I've always wanted to shave it again, but do I want to shave it now? My partner and I we've been engaged for a little while now, and still, sort of sorting out the wedding side of things. And I have always wanted to get married with, long, luscious locks. And I thought, well, we haven't actually set a wedding date yet. Am I going to put up with this mental anguish for something that's sometime in the future when hair does have time to grow back, And when I sat with that thought, I thought, this is absolutely silly. That it's, with the impact that my hair is having on my mental health, it's silly to not choose me now. So rather than choosing like my future me and my ideal me, I made the decision to choose me right now as I am. And the moment that I made that decision, I just felt so free. It was just like this huge weight had come off my shoulders, and I stopped. My hair actually stopped impacting me as negatively, and it was just this wonderful feeling. And definitely feeling chilly. I'm glad that I've got some babies, that's for sure.
What was in my hands are like super cold.
Good one. So when I first got in touch with Pardo, because I did decide that if I was going to shave my hair, I'm going to try and get some good out of it. Let's do some good with this. So I reached out to Pardo and said, hey, I love what you guys do. I attended one of their seminars last year, about a year ago, for health providers, and I was pregnant at the time. And it's the first time I had a speaker there, and sorry, I forget the name, but we were talking about perinatal mental health in dads and how dads can experience postnatal depression as well. And it was the first time that I'd really, had anyone say that. I thought, oh my gosh, yes, of course. The whole family gets impacted when you have a baby and no one's sleeping well. Everyone's stressed from the crying. It isn't just the birthing parents that go through this. And I really, really appreciated Parda's role in that and bringing it all together. All right, the spacer is
Just let me clear about what I'm about to do, okay? There's no spacer on this.
Folks are going down to a 0. And I
Now I'm worrying about now.
That's okay. I can do some trimming when I get home.
It's not just
Stay
the,
still.
it's not just the lack of sleep meant to me after the baby's born, why dads have, dads may be affected by perinatal anxiety and depression too. It's the hormonal exchange and relationship that they all have in the whānau. And that might be biological dad, might not even be biological dad. You can still have that hormonal connection and hormonal feel for it. So that's why we talk about it being something quite normal and natural, so that people don't feel that they're anything out of abnormal, sort of scopes. Because how can I be feeling about this if it's not actually my child? Yes, you can. That hormone, we forget that we are nature and nature is us. And so if we don't acknowledge, a lot of the things that you had on your list there, we're about going back to nature. So yeah, just be kind to ourselves in that time.
Absolutely. So for everyone joining us online, I'm not sure if you heard that, Taj was just sharing that when it comes to postpartum mental health for dads, that there is also studies are showing that there is a hormonal component to that hormonal change in dads as well. And we usually only talk about that with birthing parents, that there's this huge hormonal change, which there is. But it's good to remember that actually dads and non-birthing parents can experience those changes too. Oh, this is so exciting.
Great.
When I dyed my hair blue, and I did it while my kids were in daycare, and when I went to go and pick my kids up that day, I went in and got the Aurora first, and she sort of ran up to me and didn't really notice it at first, and then so she gave me a hug and I picked her up. And then after a while, she had hug and she was almost feeling a little bit better, and she sort of pulled away from me a little bit and looked up at my hair like, wow. No, just well, and just petting it, and it was quite fun, it was quite cute. So,
What do you think they're going to do when they see you?
probably about the same, although, yeah, we'll see. So my son's Espen, Espen's currently 9 months old, so 9 months in, 9 months out, that's where we're at. And he's going through the phase of being very grabby with the hands, which is another reason why I'm so excited to not have him here, because there's not going to be anything for him to grab, and he'll just give me nice pats on my face rather than grabbing my hair. So yeah, that's going to be quite funny. We'll see if they recognise me. Yeah, who is this comment?
It's a bit different, guys, than one kind of blue.
Yes. Yeah,
Coming on down here.
yeah.
Probably don't want that, and that's, shake their ears off, that we still make no.
Yeah, it's an extensive, yeah, it's
I did when I was a kid, and I started crying.
Oh, so good. If everyone online, we just had a comment about it, when Dad had a beard, and they shave it off, and the kids are like, who's this? And then we had that as kids, and Dad came home from work and clean shaven. Like, oh, is that Dad? Very exciting. okay. Another reason, which I think is worthwhile talking about from a completely different health perspective. The last time that I shaved my head, I made sure to book in for a morning check. I am someone who I do have a female pretty sort of around my body, and I've definitely got a few on my scalp. And the last time that I shaved my head, I booked in that morning. It was maybe 2 or 3 months later, so my hair had actually grown back a lot. So this time around, I've got my whole head for a week. But specifically, during my first pregnancy, I did actually have a mole develop on my eyelid. And when I went and had a mole that my sister gave me as a birthday present, it was a wonderful gift, that one. If you're ever looking for gifts for somebody and you don't want to give them things, any sort of health appointment is such a valuable thing that you can give. Anyway, so I went to this appointment and then I said, yeah, I've got this one on my eyelid that has come. So they took the photos and sent them off. And sure enough, a week later, I got a call from my GP saying, yeah, there's a mole there that they would like to get looked at. And I tell you what, having surgery with a local anesthetic on your eyelid is scary. I'm not gonna lie, I freak out a little bit with that one. But anyway, we got it taken off. And they did send it away, and eventually, after a few different medical opinions, they just said it was they did determine that it wasn't melanoma, which I was very glad of. But with pregnancy, the reason that I'm sharing this is that during pregnancy, it is very common for new skin lesions to develop. So if you have noticed that, please go and get checked out. It is much better to have an early intervention. So yeah, making sure that I'm crossing all my T's and dotting all my I's and looking after my health. So yeah, it's starting to look quite smooth.
I think we're almost there.
You stop!
I think that might be it.
Probably. I should have brought out a gallon or something.
You look like you're very bad. That's all right.
That's right. Here we go. Hello. Oh my goodness. Donation link. Please donate to Barter. Oh my goodness. Look at it.
Do you feel empowered?
I do. Oh my gosh. I feel cold.
Yeah, okay.
But, oh my gosh, this feels fun. This feels fun. I like this. I mean, I probably won't keep this for a huge amount of time. It'll be really nice when it does grow back. But,
I think it looks great.
oh, this is so
You're one of those
crazy.
people that can pull it off.
I was really surprised last time. I went, oh, I actually quite like the shape of my hair. So what I'm feeling right now is that I would like to do a little happy dance right now. So So thank you all for coming. Thank you for all the all the support and whatnot. It's really great to have you here. So thank you to everyone who joined us online as well. I'll hand it over to Amy.
So she's done it, and we appreciate everything you've organised here today. We'll have raised some money, but more importantly, we've talked about some things that need to be normalised here and that need to be talked about a whole lot more all the time. Because Parter's goal is to one day not exist, or not to have to exist. And the only way we can do that is to keep having these types of conversations. So thank you, Rochelle, and thank you to Mitch and the mentor for coming and talking today and sharing their stories. Thank you to everyone who came here in Whakarai today, and thank you to everyone who joined us online as well. It's been a test for us. We've never live streamed anything like this before, so I was really keen to give it a go and see how it went. I think it's gone pretty well. So it's probably something we'll want to do with this format again at another time, because we are a national organisation that has to apply for funding. But if we can reach more people in this sort of format, I think that's going to be a really good thing. So I am just going to close with a karakia today, because we opened with one, and then that'll be us. We'll be signing off, and we'll go our separate ways for the rest of the day. So, ka whakaria te tapu, kia waitia ai te ara, kia turuki whakataha ai, kia turuku whakataha ai, huie takie. Restrictions are moved aside, so the pathway is clear to return to everyday activities enriched, unified, and blessed. Thank you very much, everyone.